Imagine waking up every day to new orders from free traffic that Google sent you. That's what happens when your dropshipping store ranks number one for commercial keywords on Google, the kind that people type in when they're ready to buy. But most dropshipping stores never get there. That's because the system you need to use to make this happen is completely different to what 99% of people are using. And I'm willing to bet that you're one of them. And this is the exact system I use to generate over 1 million in SEO revenue in just 2 years on this store before taking a six-figure payout. And it's still crushing it on my current store in 2026. As you can see, in the last 30 days, we've put up over 100K in revenue. And I'm going to break down the full process for you in this video, step by step, with nothing held back so that you're ready to implement it from today and get massive results. This system is called Moneyball SEO. And the reason we call it that is because we are really deliberate with what we go after, and it brings great results for small players on small budgets. And so the only place we can start is with keyword mining. We have to find the gold and be very deliberate with what we go after. So I'm going to show you this on a live example here. Let's imagine that I sell sheds, and therefore I would like to rank for buying keywords related to sheds so I can sell my products. Now, what most people will do will say, well, I sell sheds, therefore I want to rank in position 1 for this keyword here, shed, the parent keyword. I want that spot that Home Depot's got there. And we can see if we go in here, okay, about 100K monthly searches for that keyword. Amazing. There is a lot of money to be made there. You can see here about 35K per month. I reckon it's a lot more than that. Home Depot is raking it in, being in that position. And if you think in this video I'm going to show you how to knock them off the top spot for this keyword, you are sadly mistaken. That is not how we do Moneyball SEO. If we try and fight the big guns like Home Depot head on these keywords, we are going to get crushed. What we do instead is we mine for the gold. So you can see here, I've got a custom SEO data GPT, same data source that feeds Ahrefs, but I can prompt it and I can say, I sell high ticket metal and wooden sheds in the US. I need to find some underserved commercial keywords that I can rank for as a low domain authority niche e-commerce retailer. Okay, right. So I want low competition, long tail commercial intent keywords that I can rank for. Now, what's this DR? That means domain rating. You can see here that Home Depot has a DR of 90. That is so high powered. And you can see for shed, the things that are ranking, the pages that are ranking, you can see 299 backlinks for this one, 80 backlinks for this one, and a DR of 90, 88 DR, 97 DR. So put simply, unless we're going to spend tens of thousands juicing up our domain with backlinks, we are not ranking for this keyword. Isn't happening, no chance. However, we can find the underserved keywords that we can rank for. And that is the Moneyball approach, right? And you can see it's given me a list right here of a load of size specific buyer keywords I can go after. These are all still hyper targeted search terms. These have a really clear buying intent behind them. I can make a lot of conversions on these terms, but they are underserved. And you can see the average backlink per top 3 in the SERP is really low. You can see how weak the SERPs are for these keywords. And it's not just these size related ones. I've also got some feature based, some that are more buyer intent, some informational, and then also some hidden niche opportunities. And what all of these have in common is they are weak, underserved keywords that I can get after and rank for and start getting buyers onto my site who are going to make conversions and make me sales from free traffic. Okay, so I've done my keyword mining, and by doing that, you're now ahead of almost all of your competitors. But if you don't create the right content to go after those keywords, which is the rest of the process, you might as well not bother. So the first thing we do to set ourselves up for content that is going to rank is a SERP-based heading structure. So why do we start with heading structure? Well, those of you that know about SEO will know that 80% of your on-page SEO comes in the heading structure. It is how you show hyper relevance to Google. And the SERP-based is looking at what is currently ranking for the term we're going after. We do not fight the tide. We do not fight against Google. We look at what is currently ranking and how that is structured, and then we copy and improve on it to move towards being number one. Now let me show you how we use AI to generate a winning heading structure. We use 2 AI tools here, layered on top of each other. The first is Gemini. The second is an absolute secret source. Let's start with Gemini. So here's the prompt. I'm creating a collection page for the term 8x8 wood shed in the US. Please review the current top 3 rankings for this term. So the 3 listings that are currently ranking at the top of the search, that's the bit we talked about, not fighting the tide of Google, and the semantically related keywords. That is the keywords that Google understands to be intrinsically related to the main term. That's how we show relevance in the heading structure, and then suggest a heading structure for this page. And now you can see we've got the core keyword analysis, we've got the semantic keywords, and we've got the heading structure based on what is currently winning in the SERPs. Okay, fantastic. And you can see now we've got really clear guardrails for our AI to create content around. You can see we've got the H1, the H2, and then all the subheadings that go underneath that. There's our structure. Now, in terms of the content that goes within this structure, we need to produce the mathematically best content for that search term, for 8x8 wood shed. Now, Google does not have opinions. It doesn't read like a human. It understands things through a mathematical and algorithmic lens. And that is why I love using Surfer SEO for ramming my content full of semantic relevance. So, as you can see here, I go for the main keyword and then I ask for a SERP-based assessment of what will rank in my country, okay? And what I get is this complete content breakdown. And the bit that I absolutely love is optimizing for SEO with entities. This is a really, really crucial part of the step that most people miss. And this won't be surfaced in normal keyword research, but you can see this through natural language processing is all of the entities, i.e. the terms and phrases that should be in a piece that's hyper relevant about 8x8 wood shed and the ranges in which they should be included. So what I can do is I can take these and I can get AI to create my content within the heading structure and within the entity inclusion ranges to get the mathematically best piece of content to rank number 1. Now it's time to create the content. And to do that, I use a custom GPT. I do that because I can essentially input everything that I've already sourced, i.e. the heading structure, the entities I need to include, and in what quantities, and I can put that into my custom GPT, and I can also overlay a collection page style guide. That's essentially how I want it written, how I want keywords included. That's heaps of SEO knowledge inside my custom GPT. So this is no longer AI generated content in its base case. It's a layering of multiple complex SEO strategies into one system. And what that allows me to do is simply give it the heading structure, the primary keyword, the semantically related keywords, and then allow it to go ahead and produce my content and making sure that all of the semantic entities are in there in the right ranges. And what that means now is that I have a really strong piece of content that I can go ahead and verify is the mathematically best positioned from an algorithmic perspective to rank number 1 in Google. So how do I do that? Well, I go ahead and copy this collection page that my custom GPT has written for me with all the guardrails that we've already put in. And I paste it back into this content editor. And that's going to allow me to get a content optimization score, which is done mathematically from Surfer SEO. And you can see right now that the top score in the SERPs for optimization is a 58. And our piece of content has an 85. So we are already mathematically blowing the competition out of the water. Now, there are a few little optimizations I can do. There's maybe a few headings where I could add certain words and phrases in. There's a few entities where I'm just under the range or just over the range. So I can tinker. But what I do know is that this piece of content is now unequivocally, mathematically, the best piece to rank number 1 online for this search term. So that is a great place to be. Now in 2024, probably even 2025, just doing 1, 2, and 3 in the process really, really well, i.e. better than 99% of your competitors, which is the process I've just shown you, was enough to rank number 1 for these underserved keywords. But content is getting cheaper, the overall level is getting higher with AI, so we need to put one more cherry on the top to really get this piece on Google's radar and essentially make sure we get our just desserts. And what I like to do with this is press releases. I like to push press releases behind my piece of content to really get it there with authority from other sites. And how I do that is I have a process that I'll link below that goes through all of this in detail, but I use GPT in agent mode to find me services that offer free press release distribution. So I'm doing this at zero cost, and it finds a number of them for me. And one of the ones that I found here is EIN Presswire. And this allows me to send a press release to this wide distribution because it's kind of like a free trial, a teaser to tease me in so that hopefully I spend for them in the future. But you can find 20, 30 different examples of these. So you can do this for a number of pages very, very cheap. And the way that we write press releases is we essentially go to Claude is my favorite for this. And I say, I'm writing a press release for this website. This is just one I've dropped in. Use a naked URL at the bottom, a contextual anchor, which exact matches the keyword we're trying to rank for, and then a branded anchor, i.e. my site at the top. It'll write a press release for me, and I can get this pushed out to all these different networks so that I'm then pushing some high quality backlinks behind this piece. And that is the last bit of the equation. Now, the real exciting bit is what I want to show you here in terms of an equation, because as we saw in our keyword research, 8x8 woodshed has 1,000 in monthly volume, okay? Which is great. It's going to make us sales, but it's not going to build us a 7-figure business. But what is going to is when we stack these on top of each other. When we stack 1,000 monthly searches per keyword across 25 different keywords that we execute this process for, then we start to have about 10K monthly visitors, because you won't get all of this search volume. Normally you get around 40% of the total search volume when you rank position 1. But the great thing about adding 10K hyper targeted commercial intent buyers is that if we convert them at 1%, which is pretty soft for such a high intent keyword, we now have 100 monthly orders from completely free traffic. And that is the foundation of a killer business. That is the foundation of a business like this that gets sold on a big multiple. As you can see, 11K, nearly 12K a month in profit, this business, but I got paid out over $500,000 because of the trend it had and its strength in organic listings. I love that you made it to the end, because that means you were soaking up all the value, and this strategy is an absolute game changer. So I can't wait for you to implement it and for the results you're going to get. I want you to go ahead and hit subscribe below so I can keep feeding you all this value and leveling up your e-commerce game.